Muhammad and Leon Edwards was awesome. Am I wrong about that? Do you guys disagree with that? Dana did not seem as though he thought it was awesome. And, okay, but that's a high scale, right? That's probably the strongest word that I know. Awesome. Well, where can we come down to? And we come down a couple words, and then we end up on okay. And then we get all the way, a couple more words, and then we get to bad. So where within that sliding scale do you guys see this? I thought it was awesome. Now, awesome is unexpected. I know the storylines. I don't find that awesome. I'm the little old lady in Iowa. I turn the TV on. I don't know who anybody is. And this is the fight I watch, right? I don't argue for you that this was Bonner versus Griffin, where you can have mute on and not know anything about anything and go, wow. But I did have those storylines, and so did you. There was a sold-out arena. There was people watching around the world on pay-per-view that did have those storylines. So in the people of the group, not the little old lady from Iowa example, the hardcores, I thought it was awesome. Knowing the backstory, knowing that they had already fought once, I don't fully understand the dismissal of the eye poke stoppage. Like, I knew who the baddest dudes were in my junior high and my high school. Don't you? Okay, great. I never saw them fight for 7 or 8 minutes. I knew within 30 or less, as long as those fights last, I knew who was who. So for some reason, when we get to the pros, or we look at Leon Blahal specifically, they had a completed round. We had 3 expert judges. We had a world that watched. We had 2 contestants in there. There was nobody that disagreed. Leon had won that part of the fight. Well, that part of the fight was 7 minutes. That's a long fight. And you want to know who saw it differently? You guys. I must give you guys a pat on the back here. You guys represented that you thought there was something more from Muhammad. You thought either Blahal had gotten better, or that first fight was starting to trend in his direction. I'm not, but the odds. My own partners at DraftKings, I argued with. I told, hey, this is even money. Negative 180 to plus 155. That was as of last week. When this fight actually went off, it was just under 2-1. But I'm still citing for you. Really? Really? You got a guy that already beat a guy in the one completed round that they had. And now he's getting a fight at home. Like, you remember everything that Leon was going on at that time when he fought Blahal the first time? Like, if anybody in our industry felt COVID, I mean, if anybody really, boy, this shutdown and these lockdown laws away, what are we going to do? It was Leon. So now you remove those things. You bring the guy to him. You go from an empty payx to a sold out. Don't you see that advantage, Leon? Because you guys did it. You guys did it. You guys saw this one. You saw it a lot clearer than I did. But maybe that speaks to my enjoyment. Maybe that spoke to my enjoyment to watch Blahal come out in the very first round, cut off the cage, Khabib him. When I talk about Khabib took people down, but what was missed is he never took them down in the center of the octagon. He never took them down on those 3 little letters UFC. He took them down on the fence 100% of the time. He took them into the fence. That was step 1. Step 2 was to get a hold of them. It was in that order, so it would just seem as though instead of having to worry about Khabib taking me down, I just got to keep my back off the fence. And I share that with you because that's what I meant when I said Blahal goes out and Khabibs him. But then later on in the fight, what Blahal is bragging about was his boxing. He didn't brag about the wrestling in the post-fight press conference. He was bragging about that jab. He was bragging about slipping that into an uppercut. He had compared himself to Canelo Alvarez. Very interesting. Very interesting because it speaks to mindset. Guys can get better. That fight 3 years ago against Leon for Blahal, he had time to get better, and he did things that would represent getting better. He went to Dagestan. He found a new mentor within Khabib. He worked with his own team, but he got some skills. He came back. You could at least, if you're telling the story, identify some specific things that happened. And I've seen guys get better. I watched Big Mouth get better. He went out to the AKA for a week. He didn't even go live. They just showed him some positions and techniques. He took that back home. He worked on it, and all of a sudden, he's not the guy that's easy to take down. Like, I've seen guys get better. I just offer you that as an example. I haven't seen anybody get better since my time in watching in 1993 in 2 areas. I haven't seen that. Blahal, who couldn't take Leon down, all of a sudden can take Leon down constantly. I won't call it at will, but he constantly took him down. Belal, who never kept Leon down, all of a sudden he can keep him down. Belal, who couldn't out-punch or kick Leon, all of a sudden out-punches and kicks Leon. Belal, who did not outwork Leon, all of a sudden can outwork him. It was like he got better everywhere. He really got better everywhere. And there is a testament to believing. And believing where you want to be, where you want to be with believing and confidence, it is so misrepresented when it's talked about. You do not, if it's a pie chart, that you don't need that whole pie filled in. As a matter of fact, you don't want it filled in because then you don't have any room for fear. If you got that whole pie chart as blue, you don't have that little red sliver anywhere, you don't have any room for urgency. And you want to have just enough belief and just enough confidence that it hinges right there with hope. You don't want to have a guy that's any further than that. But when I do look at Belal, the way he built to this fight, the fact that he went out there and fought Brady, who was younger, undefeated on an undercard, this is a main event guy. It's not a question of if Belal can get a fight with Leon. He already got the fight. It's not a question of if Belal can get a fight with Leon in a main event. He already fought him in a main event. The question is, can he get him when Leon has the belt? And the answer was always no. No. He can't even get the fight. So everything that he went through to get here, to be in this moment where his feet are to the fire, man. You've been talking this way. You've been talking for 3 years. And now's the time. That's a lot to ask of somebody, and it's a lot to think a guy's going to show up and show out better than he's ever performed before. Like out comes between them boys. Their own coaches and trainers will tell you that, right? There's things that we're never going to talk about or work on in the gym because we can't. I can't work on your grit. I can't work on your heart. I can't work on your mental toughness and your focus. And can you stay out there and do this for 25 minutes? I can only work on you on certain skills, which are really nothing more than an idea. So then you have a guy like Muhammad that can go out and do it, and he can do it nonstop, and he can do it for 25 minutes. Not to mention, they were trading back and forth. I mean, Leon won 2 rounds, for sure. And the first round was close. So now even when the decision comes, you got a little bit of a ball up in the air. The biggest tell that I had as a fan who was winning, like those two, the two guys fighting, they always know. They know who's winning in the moment. They know when the fight is over. They don't always know if the judges got it right, but they know. And the biggest tell that I had that this fight is not as close as some might have thought was Leon going on the sprint in the final round. When Leon got on top and he opened up with that elbow and he started teeing off, he was looking for a finish. He wasn't just looking to hurt him. He was looking for a finish because he knew the math is against me. That's when I knew, right in that moment when Leon was trying to finish him with everything he had. Oh my God, Leon's losing this fight. I wasn't sure. I was like, this is back and forth. Who did win the first round? I wasn't sure. I was sure in that moment that Leon, the champion of the world, believed he was losing that fight. And I mean, I just got to tell you, at the end of that contest, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did. There was a part of me that was happy for Belal. Like, not a lot of people get to experience that feeling. Having that belt wrapped around your waist, right? Having Daniel Cormier mispronounce your name. Like, right, but it's one of those things, like, you'll never forget that moment. Maybe that added to it. Maybe that clouded my memory. Maybe it was you guys telling me Belal could win when I was thinking that Leon had this. I mean, maybe that's part of it. But I would like you to answer this question. It's not rhetorical, and I'm going to go check your comments. I'm probably even going to put a poll up on my community page on YouTube, and I just want to know. I thought that fight was awesome. Am I wrong?